Hey, what's up, Internet peoples? Todd here, and welcome to Todd Talk, Movie Reviews Edition. And today we're going to be reviewing Revenge of the Sith. Now, you know what? This is a pretty great film. It's one of my personal favorite Star Wars films. It has a few problems, but we'll talk about that a little bit. You know what? There's a lot going on in this film, and I really wouldn't be able to do it justice on my own. And you know what? I need some help with this one. I know exactly who to call. Hey Google, call Tyler.
Hello?
Hey, so I need your help.
What?
I'm reviewing Revenge of the Sith.
You're reviewing the greatest prequel movie of all time?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what time it is?
Yes, it's like 3 a.m.
You know, I also live like an hour away, right?
I do, but this is important. Help me, Tyler. You're my only hope.
Yeah, just give me a second. Let me call an Uber.
All right.
Hey.
What? Oh, hello.
What?
How'd you get here so fast?
I called an Uber. Thanks,
Oh.
Han. Thanks, Chewie.
All right, then. Well, welcome to Todd Talk Movie Reviews Edition. Here we have Tyler with us. If you don't remember, if you didn't watch my vlogs about Galaxy's Edge, he was the one that went with me. As some of you may not know, Revenge of the Sith is Tyler's favorite movie.
Favorite Star Wars
Favorite
movie.
Star Wars movie, I should say, yeah. And it is. Actually, out of all the prequels, I'd say it's the best one. It's definitely one of my personal favorites. Of course, I'm still going to be just as honest as I was with the other two films, Episode 1 and 2, so I'm not going to just sing its praises all over the place, because there are some problems with it as a film.
You're gonna roast it pretty good, aren't you?
When it's necessary. Just like with Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and the reviews I did with that, there will be spoilers for this film, so if you have not seen Revenge of the Sith, and you have never seen it before...
Well, actually, at this point, what are you doing with your life if you've never seen this? Like,
Well,
let's be honest.
To be fair, not everyone was alive when Revenge of the Sith came out. To be fair, there are people who are probably just getting into Star Wars now, and they wanted to see the Star Wars movie, so that's probably why they haven't seen it yet.
If you don't want to watch the review, click off now.
Well, if you don't want spoilers of the review.
Okay, let me rephrase that. If you don't want spoilers in the review, click off now. If you do...
Well, you know what? How about you
go for it.
pause this video right now, go watch Revenge of the Sith on Disney Plus if you have it. It's available. And then come back and watch this. If you want a non-spoiler review right away, I think the movie is pretty solid. Mm-hmm. It's a decent film. It has its problems.
It shows a very good... versus 1 and 2, it does show a better story of how Anakin really went from being like, oh yeah, he's awesome. He's never going to turn to the dark side to where, oh yeah, he's Vader.
I mean, to be fair, though, with Episode 2, that one kind of makes it obvious he's going to turn to the dark side.
I mean, he did massacre an entire camp of Tusken Raiders.
Yeah. Now, getting to the spoilers part, let's talk about the beginning of the film. Honestly,
Where to begin?
it is one of the best Star Wars intros I've seen.
The title scroll, man.
Every time I listen to the soundtrack of this, which, by the way, the soundtrack for this film alone
is the best.
It's the best soundtrack ever for a Star Wars film.
Yeah. Because when like, the first part, like, after the credits roll away and stuff like that, and then you hear, like, the bum, 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 bum.
And then you see Anakin and Obi-Wan ships in unison.
You just see the
flying
Venator
through.
just, like, kind of cruising along. Nothing really, you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty, I guess this is normal, Clone Wars and all that stuff. And then you just see their ships come in, then right when they just go down, you're like,
right.
Okay, that's a lot going on there.
And it throws you right into the middle of a war scene.
But it completely shows you the scale of what's been going on, which is really cool.
Yeah, and you may not care, who is who. You may not be able to tell. I don't care. It's an awesome action scene, and it's pretty awesome. And you get some great witty banter between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
Total Star Wars type of dialogue, And it's like, there's the ship right there, and Obi-Wan, oh, I see it. Oh, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
As they're, like, being swarmed by vulture droids and all that.
You know what's funny? is the fact that there was full foreshadowing when Anakin accidentally, let's be real, accidentally shot at Obi-Wan. He's like,
well, to be fair, he was trying to shoot off the buzz droids, and then he's like, hold your fire! You gotta get us both killed. You're right, Master. Bad idea.
But again, why was that an idea in the first place?
He's like, I gotta get those buzz droids off this ship somehow.
But again, he's accurate. Not that accurate. And the blaster bolts are like this big.
That's the thing about Anakin, though. He's reckless. He doesn't plan things out. He just goes, okay, this is what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
He's the guy who literally goes on the spur of the moment thing, and I love it.
And Obi-Wan's like, in the name of...
Yeah, I could just imagine you just hear Cap saying, language! You just started thinking about that now, didn't you?
Just in the background.
Language.
Little space Captain America.
Language. Oh, somebody better make an edit on that or something like that, because that's going to be funny. No, not even just that. You just hear, in the name of language. You're just like,
he doesn't even swear that he's about to swear.
No, I know, but it cuts. Remember, he's like, in the name of... I can't do it. It's a kid's movie. And they got on the ship and stuff like that, and okay, the elevator. What do you think of that, though?
The elevator scene is pretty great. It's
a
lot of that Star Wars banter.
I just love how they're standing in the elevator, and they're like, the droids are behind, they're like, hands up.
Hands up, Jedi.
They're just like,
uh-oh.
I just like how they both look at each other for like a quick second, and like, and they just start hacking into them.
The next awesome part of the movie is the fight between Count Dooku and Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Well, really, Anakin.
Right, I mean, Obi-Wan's just kind of yeeted out of the fight, like, pretty quickly.
Count Dooku said, you're annoying.
Yeah.
Come on.
I will say the combat in this movie is really good. It's definitely a step up from the other films.
It was very fast-paced.
Right. Although I do like a lot of the fight scenes in the other films, this one does feel a little more organic than the other ones. Even though I don't really mind the whole feel that it's like a dance that like a lot of people complain about with the other prequel films. It's just like, I think it looks cool. But it is also awesome that it's like right in front of Palpatine, the whole fight, and it mirrors that Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I know. That's what
aspect.
That's what when I watched it in theaters, I was like, I see what you did there.
And it's the exact opposite of what Luke does, because in Return of the Jedi, spoilers for Return of the Jedi, Luke refuses to kill Vader and refuses to turn to the dark side, whereas Anakin
it's
gives
ironic
in.
Too, because Luke cut off Vader's hand, and
it's the same hand that Count Dooku cut off.
Exactly. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Full circle. That's weird. Man, there's a lot of foreshadowing.
And it's also the same hand that Vader cut Luke's. Vader
again
cut.
Foreshadowing.
As
there's a lot of
like George said, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Oh my god.
It all fits together. But yeah, and then that whole scene of course, it's the scene where Palpatine goes, "Do it."
Of course, the biggest meme of every year probably.
But really like cinematically how that look. It's definitely great foreshadowing. Later.
I do love the fact that like Anakin really did have that whole like I don't want to do this. And then like Palpatine just having that moment where he's like, do it, and Anakin was like just kind of went with it. He was like that, and then he like regretted. He was like, that wasn't right.
He's like, I shouldn't have done that. That's not the Jedi way.
Literally, like, I like how that right there, that one moment, you can tell he was fully, you can see the full conflict. Like, I know I shouldn't do this.
Definitely where his conflict really starts to happen in the film. And
that's where the fall
that whole scene
officially starts.
Happens later. Like, that has significance later in the film, which we'll get to later, about how, he's like, he was too dangerous to be left alive. But
you know what's something interesting? If you're looking at like say like Anakin's like right here, that moment started the incline down. That's the part that I look at, is like it actually was the first time Anakin literally was like, okay, here we go.
Well, you could also argue that he started his incline, in episode 2 when he slaughtered all the Tusken Raiders.
I just see that as poetic justice. Kill little turds.
Obi-Wan and Anakin, they escape with Palpatine. They get back to Coruscant.
Oh, let's just agree. Let's just, of course we gotta talk about the fiery ball of death flying towards Coruscant. Took out the one guard tower.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost some money. But yeah.
That's taxpayer dollars. But I really want to talk about, though, the next big scene that I think is really awesome is, a lot of people hate on Hayden Christensen for his acting in these films, but to be fair, I think he's actually a decent actor. but he just needs the right direction. Just George was not the person to bring that performance out of him.
Episode 9, please.
Now,
Hayden Christensen.
I wouldn't say he's like an A-list actor, like he's like amazing or whatnot, but he can do a decent job.
He used to be.
And
then.
And I think Revenge of the Sith really does show that. In the next scene, but bring up though is where Padme reveals that she's pregnant.
Oh man!
Like you can see in his face,
he literally is like
the joy, the devastation, and the just confusion at the same time of his brain.
Mainly, like he's like, how am I gonna deal with this?
Right, he's joyous because he's like, I have a child on the way. He's like, I'm gonna be a father. What do we want?
Greatest. Shut up! What are you doing?
And so he's like really happy, but at the same time he's like, oh crap, they're gonna find out. Like people are gonna ask, wait, how is Padme pregnant?
She's single and ready to mingle.
Well, so everyone assumes. She's a senator, and she spends a lot of time with this Anakin dude.
No, but really somebody would draw the conclusion of like him and her are probably like,
especially if they do a DNA test on the children and find out they're Force sensitive as well. Yeah, they're gonna be like, okay, and they're just as powerful as Anakin. They're gonna be like,
also look like Anakin and Padme.
You can see in that moment he is scared. He's like, okay, but he's also happy at the same time, and his face perfectly shows that. Mm-hmm. I think in this whole movie, whenever Hayden Christensen has a moment where he can just act with his face alone without any words, he is amazing. Like especially later on in the film when he's contemplating whether he's gonna go help Mace Windu kill Palpatine, or if he's going to help Palpatine save him, and they have that beautiful moment with him and Padme.
Did you know that he actually, like, in those scenes where he cried, he actually legitimately was crying?
Yeah.
That wasn't like a effect that they do, because I guess they give like water drops.
Yeah, droplets to make it like eyes tear up.
He actually legitimately crying. That's incredible.
Yeah, he's got some skills as an actor, and like I don't really like to hate on him because Hayden, but I don't really like to hate on Hayden because, it's not really his fault that, like, his performance is that bad. I mean, a lot of the performances in the movie are pretty bad. Like, even, like, Natalie Portman's an Oscar-winning actress, and her performances for the whole prequels are pretty dry.
Dream scene, I will say this. If Anakin wasn't stupid and totally acted on emotion, speaking from someone who acts on emotion, he probably would have, not had the dreams anymore.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, some people believe that Palpatine was the one throwing those dreams into his mind. Like, I don't know how. That's never really explained.
I think that was the Force kind of providing the visions, but at the same time, he doesn't
Anakin had a very unique ability to see the future.
But he didn't know how to perceive it very well, though.
Right. And the thing is, he had a really great gift of foresight, but he actually lost that ability once he became a Sith Lord.
I believe it.
So, that's something that Anakin specifically had.
Well, he probably lost it due to one of the limbs gone.
Well, it was probably more due to the fact that it was a light side ability, and the fact that he became a Sith Lord.
Oh, that is a light side ability?
Yeah, the Force grants you premonitions because it wants you to know something. It's because Sith go against the will of the Force.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So, but I do like the parts where these dreams are parallel to the dreams he had about his mom. And, those came true. So obviously he's going to be really, freaked out. And like, well, that might mean I might lose Padme then because he's dreaming about Padme dying in childbirth.
Rough.
And he made a promise to his mother that he would never let that happen to someone he loved again. So in many ways, he's like, I can't fail Padme, but I also can't fail my own mother at the same time.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Exactly.
It's the best kind.
It's the best. Oh my gosh. But
I do get what you mean, though.
And you can see that that's the main character motivation for Anakin this whole movie, and it's a very compelling motivation. And
I mean,
it's very relatable and understandable.
I will say this, though. His actions were justified. However, he felt horrible on how he had to go about it.
Well, they weren't right.
Fully
but
justified.
You can understand why he did them.
Exactly.
And
he did it for love.
And it also really goes to show how manipulative Palpatine is through the whole movie. It's one of the things I love about this film.
He literally
shows how awesome Palpatine is.
He had Padme on a leash, and he had Anakin also on another leash saying, yeah.
Well, he didn't really have Padme on a leash.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, had her, like, on that leash, like, I'm going to let you get away with some stuff, but at the same time, like, you might die, but I got some dirt on you, and I got your guy over here who I can just kind of reel in whenever I need him to kind of execute a couple people.
Anakin does the right thing about his dreams. He goes straight to Yoda and asks for a guidance.
That smart man.
He does everything a Jedi should do, and they tell him the most crappy, like, Buddhist, like, not that, if you're Buddhist, I'm not, trying to insult you or anything.
No, they
Zen,
do tell him, like, the dumbest thing. Like,
Like-
you have to, like, be willing to let what you care most about go. And you're just like, you're talking to a man who is
He's about to
sacrificed.
lose the one thing he cares about in life, and they're just telling him, yeah, it's fine, everyone dies eventually. But Yoda just tells him, look, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. And he's just like, well, that doesn't help. Like, what am I supposed to sit around and do nothing as Padme dies in my arms? Like, there's got to be something I can do.
Like, he wanted
I love
to
how
learn some
after this,
stuff.
Palpatine starts to seed into his mind that he could become a master. He knows it's what he wants. And he says, well, I want you to become my personal representative on the Jedi Council. And, which thinks to think, oh, I'm probably about to become a master. So when the Jedi Council obviously says, no, you can't be a master, one, you're way too young, and two, you're just not ready for that responsibility, he's, of course, devastated and feels betrayed.
I mean, technically speaking, he did kind of get misled a lot.
Right. It just shows just how manipulative Palpatine is. Like,
Yeah,
obviously the
man.
Council was going to say no, but he fed it into his mind that they could possibly, that he deserves it.
Planting seeds of, like...
Of doubt.
Yeah.
To make him slowly distrust the Jedi Order, and you can really beautifully see that intertwined throughout the film.
Like I said, that decline just still going.
And then afterwards, after the meeting where he gets rejected from being a master, he's now being asked by the Council to spy on the Chancellor. That's, like, putting his faith in the Jedi kind of making it a little rocky there.
Yeah, it's like, he, like, makes me, you're on this council, but we do not give you the rank of master. Like, I still would, if it were me, I'd still take that as a win. I'm like, I'm on the council.
But if
That's
you understand,
cool.
like, what that's like, though, to be a Jedi, to be put on the Council and not made a master, that's kind of like an insult. It's like,
I guess for some
it's
people
more like,
it
we
would
want to
be-
keep an eye on you, but we're not
Yeah.
going to get you,
I mean, I feel like, well, yeah, I guess if you go with that. But I'm saying, like, for me, like, if I didn't think like that, I'm like, that's a huge honor, like, being put on the council as a knight.
Mhm.
Not even a master. Like, that means
As a
that you're
knight.
they think so highly of you.
But he later finds out that the only reason they did that was so that he could report on the Chancellor's dealings directly to the Council. So they didn't even put him on the Council for his own achievements. They put him on the Council because the Chancellor trusts him.
Yeah, that was a bad part on their... That was pretty bad on their end. Obi-Wan was at that point going to Utapau, meeting up with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's armor, I gotta give it up to him, man. His armor looks sweet.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love the clones.
I love
in
the
this film
Phase
as
2.
well, and
I love the Phase 2 armor better than Phase 1.
yeah, I do love how they show a little bit of the camaraderie between like the Jedi
Mm-hmm.
and the clones in this film. Not as well as they do with the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
but there is that kind of like camaraderie between Cody and Obi-Wan. You can see their friends.
Don't destroy all the droids till I get there.
So I promise I won't win the war before you get there. And I love, like, which makes it even more tragic later when they suddenly have to turn and be Order
Yeah.
66 actors.
But I will say this: when Obi-Wan gets to Utapau, the guy who meets him is like, isn't he like the guy who's technically like the prime minister or something like that?
Is it
over the-
Utapau?
Yeah, you can like clearly see the fear in his eyes. He's like, yeah, we're literally being watched.
We're being held hostage.
Yeah, we're literally being held hostage. Please help.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, like storyline wise,
I still have no idea how he didn't get in any trouble for that. If he was being watched, and you can clearly see he's being watched, and he's telling a Jedi stuff.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they really could pick that up though?
I mean, probably.
Probably.
I was gonna go back though a little bit to after we're talking about the visions and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But
Backtracking.
when he's asked to spy on the council, and then immediately afterwards, followed by him going to meet with the Chancellor at that opera house thing or that weird circus thing, which is probably one of the best scenes in the whole movie.
Because
You
he
ever
does
hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
If I was Anakin, let's be real though. Like, I mean, if I was like Darth, how do you know so much about this?
Right, he gave you so many obvious clues.
I'm like, yo. Well, that's about time.
I'm dropping hits like crazy. I am a slow learner. But like earlier, I love how he challenges Anakin's philosophy a little bit. And he's fighting back, with like what he's been taught. But deep down, he's like, I'm starting to really
Again,
question the Jedi here.
Palpatine has been planting these seeds of doubt since he was like a kid.
Oh yeah,
So like this manipulation has been going on for like a while.
and it shows just the patience and brilliance of Palpatine as a manipulator, and it's It's one of the reasons why he's my favorite villain in Star Wars.
Isn't he your favorite? He's your favorite Sith too.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. Vader's obviously mine.
But in that scene, he's challenging him about, like, he's trying to make him think the Jedi and the Sith are pretty much exactly the same. In many ways, like, they're just concerned about their desire for greater power. What's really funny in this scene, though, is Palpatine starts to realize he's not going to convince Anakin on that fully.
Yeah.
He kind of gives up.
He has to show.
He gives up trying to convince him when he's like, the Sith are, only concerned about getting more powers, and the Jedi aren't. And he's like, well, the Jedi are selfless. They only care about others. Sith only look inward. Are trying to better themselves. And he really can't argue with that. He's like, oh, okay.
He's like,
okay.
He's like,
which is why then he switches to the Plagueis now, because he's like, well, if I can't convince you to join the Sith because they're just the same as the Jedi, and make you see that moral gray area, maybe I can convince you to join the Sith because they have something that the Jedi lack. It's something you need. What's really clever is he tells this tale that as if it's a legend, but in actuality, this is recent history.
Yeah, this just happened.
Plagueis was Palpatine's master. Now, we don't know for sure when Plagueis died.
That's true. But
it could have in Legends it happened right around the time of Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Or actually during the events of Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
But in canon it could have happened, years and years ago before even those films came out.
But it is interesting how he said as if it was like a legend. I like how
right, and of course the Jedi wouldn't know that because it was about during the Rule of Two, and nobody in the Rule of Two in the Jedi Order would really know about Plagueis.
Because they knew about like the Jedi and Sith War and all this stuff.
Yeah, they barely even knew about Darth Bane, who was the first person to rule in the Rule of Two.
Right.
I also love like the little hint of pride on Palpatine's face when he starts to tell the part where he kills Plagueis, where he's like, and then his apprentice killed him in his sleep, and you can even slowly see like his voice transform into Palpatine's as he's talking about it. It's like, ironic, he could save others from death, but not himself.
Yeah, I did catch that too, and I was like,
hello. Instead of him going like, wait, how do you know so much about the Sith?
Yeah, I know. Like a regular person would.
Yeah, he just goes, is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi. And that's really where he starts to think, maybe I should consider looking into the dark side a little bit.
Well, technically speaking,
if the Jedi aren't going to give me the power to save Padme, then maybe the Sith can.
Fast forward.
We fast forward a little bit. Obi-Wan made contact with General Grievous and is about to take him out. The council wanted to see Palpatine's reaction to finding out the news that Obi-Wan had found General Grievous and was about to pretty much win the war, because they were worried that he wouldn't give emergency powers back up after the war, which he wasn't going to, to be fair.
I mean, let's be honest.
Their fears were well-founded.
Yes, they were.
And so they had to make sure that, okay, well, we have to make sure the transition goes over peacefully. That a new chancellor's elected because he's way past his term limits. And so that's when Palpatine reveals he's a Sith Lord to Anakin.
Yeah, literally, he's like, oh yeah.
I love the way he does it. He does it very subtly. He's like, he just talks to him as if it's a normal conversation about his life. He's like, allow me to show you the better mysteries of the Force. He's like, how do you know about the Force? He's like, oh, my master taught me everything. My mentor taught me everything about the Force. Even the nature of the dark side. And he's like, what?
You're the
Anakin,
Sith
if one is to understand the full mysteries of the Force, one must, so all its aspects, not just the dogmatic view of the Jedi. And after all that, he's like, wait a minute. Puzzle pieces are going by. Mathematics going through. Plagueis, do it. You're the Sith Lord.
No, I'd be like, you're the ice cream man. Wait, you're the Sith Lord. No, he does it in such a good way, but I also...
And that reveal when I remember when I first saw that, and then like he revealed to Anakin where he's like, and you can have the power to save your wife from certain
Please
death.
tell me you weren't that person that said, don't do it!
No, I feel because I was like, he knows. Like, he's that powerful that he just knows that. Like,
I knew he was like completely like saying, like,
which is
completely lying.
And that's also one reason why a lot of people think that he's the one that implanted those visions into his mind, is that he knew for a fact that, he was worried about Padme dying, that he was having these visions. But you could also argue he was just so powerful, he could read like Anakin's mind and determine that like that's what was going on.
The dude was literally the most conflicted person in the galaxy, obviously.
Yeah.
He was like, let some slip out, Padme death, but...
And that's the moment that really makes Anakin realize that he's the Sith Lord. Like, that's when he's like, what did you say? You think about this for a minute. This is a guy he has trusted since he was a child, and now he found out that he's the one that started the Clone Wars and, was Count Dooku's master, is responsible for so many people's lives ruined. And he's been sitting under his nose this whole time.
Oh, you gotta think he was probably like...
He was pissed.
Oh, yeah, he was ticked.
When Anakin, Palpatine's, are you going to kill me? I would certainly like to. I mean, yeah. He's like,
well, yeah, like, you can tell. You can tell, like...
I can feel your anger.
That's called baiting.
Makes you powerful.
That is 100% baiting.
Focus.
Why?
And of course, Anakin does the right thing by telling the Jedi Council.
He does the right thing. Why is no one commenting on this?
He does everything right, and then until he doesn't.
That's what happens when emotions come up.
He's so conflicted with what's going on with him, but he tries his best to hold to what he knows is true as his world is just falling apart around him. It's
again, that
brilliant
decline. That decline, man.
And of course, Mace Windu makes him stay behind when he tells him.
I will say this, though. Having Anakin stay behind was, I would say...
It was the logical thing to do.
Was, but at the same time, I also think that...
It played in Palpatine's hands because he knew that's what they were going to do.
Mace Windu should have probably done things a little differently.
If he had brought Anakin along with him, it would have gone a long way of showing like he trusted Anakin, 1. And 2, there wasn't some secret plot they were trying to hide from him, which is what Palpatine wanted him to believe.
Right.
Like everything just fell into Palpatine's hands in this whole film, and it's just brilliant to watch. Like it's sad, it's pretty dark.
It really is. It's like it's sad because you're like, because you see Anakin's like literally his world is shattering around him, but also
especially though when it comes to what I was going to say when we come back later, when he sees Mace Windu with his blade at Palpatine's throat, and he's like saying he's too dangerous to be left alive. We have to kill him now. He's thinking about that moment when he killed Dooku, and he's thinking that wasn't the Jedi way to do that. I shouldn't have killed an unarmed man. And here is Mace Windu about to do the exact same thing. The pinnacle.
He did warn him.
He's the pinnacle of what the Jedi were supposed to be at that time, Mace Windu. And he realizes in his mind, he's now thinking, well, Palpatine was right. The Jedi are no different than the Sith, except the Jedi have done nothing but lie to me, and they haven't trusted me since the beginning, and have held me back.
So Mace lost a hand, got zapped out a window, and Darth Vader was born.
And even then, he's still regretting his decision. But
hardcore! You can tell he was regretting because he literally was like,
"What have I done?
Have I done? Real."
But I want to bring up a point that a lot of people bring up is that people say that Anakin's turn was really drastic at this point.
It wasn't drastic at all.
I mean, you think, oh, he's the guy going, what have I done after killing Mace Windu or helping kill Mace Windu, to then all of a sudden slaughtering younglings. But if you really watch the scene and you listen to the context of what's going on, but Palpatine's telling him, look, if you want to save Padme, you want to have the power to save Padme, you have to show no mercy. You got to be ruthless. You have to just go in there, and none of the Jedi in there are innocent.
Swing and hack.
It's all part of his manipulations. Anakin's like, okay, if that's what I have to do. And you can even tell, when he's about to cut down the younglings, you can see it in his face, I gotta do this. I don't want to, but I got to. The whole Order 66 scene is very emotional.
Man.
Definitely hits me. Especially after you've watched the Clone Wars, you've got to know some of those characters. It's so much more
I will say this. Keanu Mundi, though,
that
when
scene,
he died, he literally, he was charging, then they stopped, and he's like...
What's going on? What are you doing?
He's like... He sensed it for, a second, he's like, what? And then just dead.
I think what's even more devastating than the scene is when Yoda's reaction to Order 66.
Oh my god!
He just drops his cane and grabs his heart.
His heart was breaking.
It's even more impactful because Yoda hardly shows any emotion ever, especially even in the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
So in that one moment where he finally shows some emotion, it's like, whoa, this is very serious. And
it's like Yoda showing little to no emotion in the prequels. You're okay, that makes sense, But when you see him getting him literally dropping his cane, just grabbing his heart, he's you just sit there and you're watching oh my god, he feels every bit of what's happening. But man,
of course it doesn't stop him from killing the clones when they are about to kill him and all that.
Rest in peace, Commander Gree.
But
Rest in peace.
yeah, afterwards, Obi-Wan and Yoda, team up with Bail Organa to try to go back to the Jedi Temple and find out what's going on.
Oh, man.
Anakin's sent to Mustafar to kill the Separatists.
I will say this: the Jedi, after the Purge, that scene of them just walking through the temple.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that scene.
Not even the younglings survived.
That was sad. That was
and
so
Obi-Wan, you can see
sad.
the grief in his face.
You can see like the sadness, like,
but also the confusion.
So...
He's like, "Who could have done this?"
And then watching the recording, he literally was like, he had full sadness, denial, grief, just all like so many emotions. He's like, I don't know how to deal with this. It can't be Anakin.
Now,
it cannot be him.
I will say though, he probably could have shown a little more emotion in that scene.
Yeah,
like he just kind of goes,
"Watch the eyes, man.
I can't watch anymore." And that's how it.
Well, you gotta watch the eyes. The eyes tell the story.
I'm not at all dissing on Ewan McGregor's acting abilities. I think it's more of George's direction there. Like he didn't go, "Oh, maybe we should do one more take
this
there."
Guy,
it's like
just killing on the George Lucas impression.
He's just like he doesn't think he just sees one take and he goes, that's probably about it. We're good there. But especially when that leads into later when he's sitting on Mustafar looking over everything he's done, and you like the music cuts
like
between
crying, man.
him, like it cuts between like him and then the bodies all in the separatists chamber as he's just like reflecting on who he's become
over the lava and everything. He's literally
the
just
tears just coming out of his eyes and the hatred he feels
for himself
and for the situation he's in, like. There's so much going on there, and again, it shows Hayden's acting abilities.
I'll be real though, I actually legitimately
when he's
cried.
not giving dialogue.
I straight up cried like during that movie.
It's intense, and then eventually, when
12-year-old me was bawling.
Obi-Wan has to tell Padme about the fact that he killed younglings,
and also the fact that he also then figured out that Anakin's the father, isn't he?
Not only that she's pregnant, but that Anakin's the father.
No, I'm sorry.
He always suspected that there was something between them, but then he's like, "Oh crap, he had a kid with you, didn't he?" I'm so sorry.
So, I'm sorry for laughing, but really, you can see Padme was literally like.
And then when she goes to Mustafar
no, she definitely was
she was in denial. Obviously,
she was in straight up denial. Anakin was like
this good-natured guy who would give his own life before he would take his
it's
life of
what
his
are
friends.
You doing here?
Hey. Anakin was the type of guy who would have probably given his life for the Jedi Order.
Anakin's the type of guy who would have given his life for anybody.
Right, and yet despite that, now all of a sudden she's hearing that he's killed younglings and has slaughtered the people in the Jedi Temple, and of course,
and has aligned himself.
And that's in conflict with what he told her that the Jedi are traitors, and she's just so conflicted, obviously. And then when she finally gets to Mustafar and she sees the man he's become, it's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she doesn't have to go, "You're breaking my heart." George Lucas does seem to have a problem, though, with this idea that he can't seem to just let a scene tell itself. He's like, no, they won't be able to know what emotions are feeling unless I tell them what they're feeling,
I said I was going to try and justify a couple of these parts, but I'll give you that.
He's like, she's heartbroken about what's going on in the scene.
She's literally bawling her eyes out.
She doesn't literally have to scream.
No, and then
"You're
Obi-Wan.
breaking my heart."
No, then Obi-Wan.
Can't you tell by my crying eyes he's breaking my heart?
The big man on campus, Obi-Wan. What's going on here?
Because of Obi-Wan.
No, Obi-Wan just standing there. What's going on here, everybody?
I gotta say, Obi-Wan has the worst timing as well. He's so
what do they call Obi-Wan? The trolling master?
Trolling master of trolls. I mean, it's a serious scene.
Obi-Wan really does have the worst timing.
Because she's over there pleading, "Come back with me." She probably would have been successful.
And Obi-Wan is literally
and she's like, so which makes him break out and then eventually choke his wife because she thinks even she's betrayed him.
Yes.
He's gone so far to the dark side that he has lost touch with who he is. And that's why I was saying earlier, that's when Vader was born. But now in this moment, he just kind of realizes what he's becoming.
He's still got that conflict, though.
He sees her lying on the floor, almost dead because of what he did.
No, but did you notice, though, that his face, he's like...
But what's really says, he doesn't blame himself there. He blames Obi-Wan. He goes, "You turned her against me. You have done that to yourself." That really, scene always does get to me, though.
Let's just be honest, though. Anakin at that point, Obi-Wan. Think about it from Obi-Wan's eyes, though. Like Obi-Wan's view.
This boy that he raised almost is now this monster that he has to kill. It's
But not
so
only that, but
heartbreaking.
he literally like he's like when you hear the words "If you are not with me, you are my enemy." Like at that moment, he's like, "I will do what I must." And then like you gotta imagine from Obi-Wan's perspective, that had to be the hardest thing he had to do in his entire life.
Like earlier when he was like, "Send me to kill the Emperor." I can't kill Anakin, but of course he has to. He does his Jedi duty and does what he has to do. I do love the fact that they have the fight with Yoda and Palpatine at the same time as Anakin and Obi-Wan. It's master and apprentice. Like the two
most powerful like Jedi and Sith
the epitome of the light and the epitome of the dark facing each other.
Well, let's be honest.
While master and apprentice
in
brothers
the Senate,
in arms
in the Senate room.
I still love the moment when like the music builds and like you see the camera like spin around the Senate. As you see in like the small bit of the lightsabers just like hitting each other, clashing as the music builds, and then cuts to Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting.
I think honestly, the Mustafar fight still is better than the Yoda Sidious fight, but at the same time, just watching them both at the same time, you're like,
and then eventually,
this is insane.
And then eventually, when like Yoda and Sidious are fighting each other again, they just start using a force battle. Like Palpatine's literally throwing the Senate at him. I threw the Senate at him.
I threw the Senate at you.
He's throwing pods like crazy.
I love the
just
fact
showing
that he also
raw
threw
power.
one. No, my favorite is when he threw that one, and Yoda literally caught it and then started spinning.
And
no, literally
like,
was like, he's like, oh shoot.
Eh.
No, remember he's like, I need to move.
But also, it just goes to show how powerful Palpatine is with the Force. Is that's how their battle wins.
Right.
Ends in that scene. But, and I do get some of the complaints with Anakin and Obi-Wan's fight that it does go on a bit long.
Honestly, it doesn't feel...
But to me, it's fine.
The reason why it feels long is because you have two duels going on at the same time.
Like, after Anakin after Yoda and Palpatine's fight
they go from, like, the landing
Obi-Wan,
platform inside the building, outside, breaks the one part, in a lava river... Doesn't care about the lava. They're swinging back and forth.
My favorite scene, the whole movie though, visually, is when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting, and then they grab each other's lightsabers, and that lava just explodes behind them.
The most
as the music builds up, and it's like
scene ever. It just really goes to show like visually how amazing.
Also, I'm gonna bring this up right here because I have heard nobody else bring it up ever before, but something that continuously bugs me every time I see Revenge of the Sith.
Here we go.
During the earlier part of Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight, when they're like on the table and Anakin's pushing his lightsaber Obi-Wan's lightsaber into his throat, trying to kill him right there, their hilts keep switching. Obi-Wan's either holding Anakin's or his own between each frame.
I need to watch this because I never noticed this.
I'm gonna put it up right here. It's like right there, and it drives me nuts every time. I can never unsee it. I saw that once when I was like, I want to watch the fight again. I really enjoyed that fight, and I was watching it, and I was like, wait a minute. Why is Obi-Wan holding Anakin's hilt? Now he's holding his own again. Crap, I can never unsee that. And now you won't be able to either. But also...
No, seriously, think about that.
He kind of learns his lesson, though, after that scene, because then you get to the, it's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! Because he flips onto the high ground, and he thinks he can, take
remember,
over.
he did the same move that
Obi-Wan tried.
Yeah, Obi-Wan tried at Phantom Menace, and Obi-Wan knew, so he's like...
He wanted to show his superiority to Obi-Wan by using the same move against him, but obviously he was arrogant and, impulsive, and that's what cost him his limbs.
I mean...
And that leads into probably the most heartbreaking scene in the whole movie.
And
Ewan McGregor's best performance.
He literally, like, you could see, like... Hayden Christensen was doing two things, okay? One, man's literally only could use one hand to crawl himself up. He just lost his limbs, okay? His eyes are like piercing
red.
Red.
And the yellow on his
But
eyes.
did you also notice the fact that he's literally crying? And like, I'm literally half the man I was, jokingly, but half the man he was, okay? And he literally is trying to crawl up this lava bank, okay, before he slides even more into the lava to either he's gonna catch on fire or he's gonna basically fall into the lava.
Yeah.
And all those rocks are literally like cutting into his tunic. And then when he catches on fire, and then seeing Obi-Wan just go, oh my gosh, I can't look. Like,
but what really breaks my heart though is, Obi-Wan's pleading with him. This is like his last-ditch effort to bring Anakin back. and he's just like you swore that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to rebalance the Force, not leave them in darkness.
But then,
and then he says, and then Anakin just responds with, "I hate you."
And then he literally...
That is really the most heartbreaking part.
But not only that, but he literally, after he says that, he says, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you."
And what I was going to say before is that really shows how far Anakin has fallen at this point. He's no longer regretting anything.
Nope.
He hates the Jedi with a passion.
But he's crying that he got to that
he
point.
feels like he's the victim in this moment.
Yeah.
And it really shows that this is how far he's fallen.
Yeah.
And
but right when he
so
catches on fire though, that's when you really
so heartbreaking.
Literally like the screams of Anakin like even like right now, like
it's hard to watch.
It really is. It's, I mean, of course, 12-year-old me in the theater, I was like, my eyes couldn't get off the screen.
That's why it's rated PG-13. I love how they pair Luke and Leia's birth with the formation of Darth Vader,
Yeah.
What I find interesting during that scene is all the way up until Vader gets his mask on, you can hear a distinct heartbeat with Vader until he puts the mask on, and like in the background.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I gotta watch that again.
They don't show him being risen again back to life until Padme's dead. Whoa. Which
I need to rewatch
it's almost
that.
like they're saying like she sacrificed his life for him to survive, and that's one of the pieces of evidence. People who believe that Palpatine used the Force to like drain from Padme into Anakin.
Yeah.
To explain why she died, because I'll be honest. The way she dies in this movie is so dumb. She just loses the will to live.
I will say this. Her acting, though, for being pregnant and going through childbirth was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait,
it was pretty good.
Actually, I think it's... At that point, I think she had a kid at that point. Like, in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I think Natalie
She
Portman
probably
actually...
just drew on that. But, like, people have always complained about this, and something that's a problem with me. Like, she was a very tenacious character. She was one of those people that never gave up. Even through, like, the toughest of times. I mean, she, like, what she suffered through the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like, none of that would make her lose hope, but yet losing her baby daddy is what makes her lose the will to live.
Well, I think I'm kind of with everybody when I say that I think Palpatine really did, like, pull on...
And, like, that's not canon for sure. Like, until, like, Lucasfilm comes out and says that's officially what happened.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. But I do hold to that personal fan theory myself, like, as an explanation.
I'm good with that fan theory as well.
Like, that's part of my own headcanon. But
also...
I have to recognize that that's not officially part of the canon. And it is kind of lazy writing from the movie standpoint.
One of the chilling, greatest
but
moments.
It does... Yeah, we do have that moment where he breathes for the first time as Vader.
Not only that...
I'm always silent. And if I'm watching it with someone, I
make
them be silent.
But when you see him rise, and you hear the music...
And then
then you just see him
breath,
go
and James
like
Earl Jones returns as Darth Vader.
Oh, man.
Where is Padme? Is she safe?
But, like, Anakin literally, like, was... Anakin?
Gone.
Who is he?
Anakin's no longer in the movie.
Anakin is no longer...
As I said before, Anakin was gone by the time he got to Mustafar.
Mm-hmm.
This was Vader in the flesh. Getting towards the end of the movie, though, I do love like the almost montage they do here. Leia go to Bail Organa to Alderaan. You see the funeral of Padme, and then you see Vader and Palpatine standing there with Grand Moff Tarkin.
The funeral of Padme, really, if you look at it, that really was straight up emotional because she had the necklace.
The necklace that Anakin made her, yeah.
That's sad.
But I do love the ending of this film. This is because as everything builds, the final shot that always gets me is Luke being passed to Owen and Aunt Beru.
It was he was passed to Beru first.
Because
Owen was standing on the ledge.
Right, and then Obi-Wan just stoically goes back to his space camel thing, and that thing was. Strokes his beard like Alec Guinness does. And
he got that down.
The music built up to the twin suns. That music builds up every time. It gets me. Like I tear up every time I see that.
At this point I was literally like this.
And you see them holding, because like you see all this tragedy happens in the film, but you know that there is still hope, and it leads into a new hope, and you know what happens eventually, that Luke is the one that will bring Anakin back. Spoilers for Return of the Jedi. It's like ends on a note of it's sad, but it's bittersweet because you know that there is hope for the future. So, all in all, I do really enjoy this film. It's one of my favorite Star Wars films.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect by any means. there are definitely some moments where the acting is a bit dry, like in the other prequel films, but all in all, I still enjoy it. I think the good outweighs any bad in the film, and it's still a very decent Star Wars movie. Well made.
Still my favorite.
I know it's your favorite Star Wars movie, and I understand why. For many years, it was my number one favorite Star Wars movie, but
I think I said why it's my favorite is because like just watching Anakin just
right, it's the story of Anakin.
It's really the story of Anakin's turn to the dark side, and it's so poetic. I really love it, and I agree it does have some moments that are like, but then there are a lot of scenes that do outweigh the bad, and that makes me really happy to watch it, which I actually do want to watch it again now.
Yeah, after doing this review, it's
right. I kind of want to watch it again.
All in all, though, I'm gonna rate this film 7.5 younglings out of 10.
Ooh, are they the ones in half?
One of them is in half.
The one is in half. Wow.
7.5 younglings.
Wow.
Well, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel and maybe hit a like button. I will put a link down to Tyler's channel also down below.
Whenever it decides to start.
Right. I was gonna say to you, if you don't have a YouTube channel by the time I post this up, I'll link your Instagram or something like that.
Might as well.
So people can follow you.
Well, I probably should. I'll have my channel up by then, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this was Todd Talks, movie reviews. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.